and he joins us here on the old Skype, the old Skyper Rooney. He looks like I don't know if they have these in the United Kingdom, but Godfather's Pizza. He looks like the guy from the Godfather's Pizza boxes. Christopher Wells is with us today, and
fitting perfectly with those hat and sunglasses in London. I promise you, and that jacket it looks perfect.
I wouldn't say a Godfather's pizza box. It's kind of like
you look like the Godfather's Pizza guy. I'm telling you.
I'm the Godfather. Not the dude on the box.
Absolutely.
We have got a great guest with us today. He joins us live here in our broadcast. So, Christopher,
Yes,
I am not going to disrespect you by saying a bunch of nonsense. So I'm going to let you do your own introduction. Tell me and DJ Dan here about yourself.
I am a lifelong musician. Come from a long line of musicians. I love all genres of music except for commercial country. I even think some of the old classic stuff is pretty cool. It's good songwriting. And with my music, I like to have that as a very essential element of my sound. The first single that you heard, Jiggy Jaguar,
Yes,
was Ariana, which is more of a laid-back kind of psychedelic kind of trippy thing. But it could go from, when the record comes out in January, it goes from that to some pretty heavy stuff with feedback and guitars and me wailing instead of crooning. And for me, it's just, music is like a representation of life. Every day is not going to be a Metallica song.
yep.
Every day is not going to be a Joy Division song. Every day is not going to be, well, none of my days are Kanye West songs, so I wanted to say that. But you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, sure.
And so with my sound, I like to include all those different elements. One of my favorite bands of all time is Zeppelin. And what I loved about Zeppelin was the fact that no matter what style or genre they played, from their really bluesy stuff like Days of Confused to something like Kashmir, to the things that had the more Indian, the Eastern feel to it, like they hit so many different textures, but they did them all viably. It wasn't like, let's have a Zeppelin Unplugged record and they get up there and you're like, oh shit, that would never happen.
Yeah.
Essentially, I think when you're dialed into who you are, once you figure out your sound, you should be able to translate that within different textures and vibes. So that's something I love about music, because if I had to listen to the same kind of music every day, I would be toast. Like if you look at if you were to look at my playlist of my Apple songs or whatever, it's so varied, from songs from Bessie Smith and Charlie Patton from the 20s, Robert Johnson, Bad Brains, Zeppelin. I love my British bands. They were like, I just love all kinds of good music. It doesn't matter where you're from.
I've got to say, Chris, if I hope you don't mind calling you that, Chris. I heard Ariana for the first time probably about an hour ago, and honestly, I love it. I really do, and it's definitely a track I'll be downloading. Honestly, I really do love this sort of music, and I'll be playing it all the time in my car, on the radio, wherever. And I was, honestly, I wouldn't just say that. And I was reading your press release as well, and you've worked in some pretty cool places. To name one, Hyde Street Studios.
I'm glad you mentioned that. It's just been an amazing experience to be a part of that. I first got linked in to Hyde Street Studios. I have a very dear friend who's like a sister to me, named Pamela Parker, and you all should look her band up, Pamela Parker and the Fantastic Machine. They're based in San Francisco, and she and I are good friends, and we were going to go work on a session that was being produced by this guy Jameson,
Yeah.
who she ended up dating. She and Jameson ended up dating, and they're together today. And he's Sammy Hagar's guy. He did that, last record for them that hit #1, and works with Joe Satriani, all these great guys. But I literally got linked in and just started doing sessions, and then met and got to know Chris McGrew, who's one of the co-owners of Hyde Street. And he and I started doing a couple demos, and he's the one that's playing drums on Ariana and does a fantastic job. He's one of my brothers and just a fantastic musician. And then we had Johnny Axtell, who's another great friend of mine and one of the best guitarists I know around. And I'll say that again, one of the best guitarists I know that's around. He just has his own thing. And then we had Ryan Hickey play on it, who's a fellow born Philly guy like myself. And he's a phenomenal piano player. And not just getting session players together and making it cold, these were all my friends. So it's like you get to record, like if you got to hang out with all your mates and you're sitting at the pub, getting a couple pints down, and it's like, hey man, we got some guitars and some drums and some keys and we all jam, let's do it. That's how awesome. This is. So just the fact that people are enjoying it, it's a real blessing for me because it's something that, I just love working there and just walking in there and seeing all the platinum record singles, all the amazing artists that have been there before, and they had this original Rupert Neve console that all these amazing records were done, and there's this piano that was rumored to be Frank Sinatra's, and
wow.
And we record more specifically in High Street Studio C, which is known as Wally's Hideout, and that's where the Dead, when they would do their stuff, I think they did Working Men's Dead there back in the day, but there's something about this room that's magical. You walk in there and it's almost like you're among such company and so many great things are there. It kind of lifts your spirit to kind of come to that level, or at least make an attempt to do your version of your best, So just to record that, to record the record there, or the majority of it, there's a couple tracks that we had to kind of finish, after Corona kicked in, and do like the whole, here, send me this, send me that, play here. But just being a part of that family, and, being blessed to produce out of there when I'm when I'm over this Corona fear of getting in a plane and flying, and the possibility of flying and dying isn't sitting with me right now, especially going to the flu season. But I miss San Francisco so much. And, because most of the time I was there, we were in Hyde. I was either helping Chris McGrew with a session, or we were in there doing some stuff ourselves, and it's just amazing. And they have like a wonderful espresso machine and always top quality coffee.
Well, the coffee, I can definitely vouch for the coffee in San Francisco. I can remember drinking coffee there.
I wasn't a coffee guy until later on in life, because I already had enough kind of energy going that if I drank coffee, I would have no friends.
Yeah, I wasn't a coffee guy until I actually went to San Francisco. Yeah.
I would have no friends. We have got Christopher Wells with us today. He joins us live. The Nevolutionaries self-titled EP is coming out in January of 2021. And so we are going to go to this incredible track here that we are going to play. It is Ariana. We're going to go to that, and when we come back, we have got more. We are going to put Christopher and DJ Dan on hold here on Skype, and then we are going to go to this track. And it's here on International Live, here on KJAGradio.com, 107.5 Leicester, in the United Kingdom.
doesn't know how to stop it when it begins. And every time I take a look in the sky, you are the star that keeps on lighting up the night. Every time I take a look in the sky, you are the star that keeps on lighting up the night. And every time I take a look in the sky, you are the star that keeps on lighting up the night. The night, the night, the night. Oh, oh, oh.
That is a heck of a track. It is Ariana, and it is from our guest, Christopher Wells, from the Nevolutionaries. He joins us today here on International Live. And we go back to Christopher Wells and Dan. They, of course, during the break, they're having all sorts of fun without me. So Dan, you've heard this song. What do you make of this track here?
Yeah, well, like I said earlier, I love it, and I'll definitely be downloading it and keeping an eye out for the album, and I think a lot of people will. Really good track, really nice guy, just chatting to him off air there. Hopefully we can get you back on in the future when you've got some more tracks coming off your album.
I'd love to. I think the 21st is the official release date for January. So, you can, I'm sure if you can get up with the guys at Raby does the press for us.
Yep.
And I'm sure they'd be able to line it up, because I love to chat with you again. It's just like I know enough about people that I know when someone's kind of bullshitting. And I can tell when you said you listened to it that you dug the track, and being someone that's in your position, you hear a lot of stuff. So that's something that when you're in the studio, you're creating. It's like, is this going to move people? And that thing came together. Everyone did their parts in one take.
Wow.
I mean, it came together so quickly. And then it was me at the end of the day, going back and doing the overdubs and going, oh no, should I use this guitar, that guitar, this guitar, that guitar? Should I have to tune to this or tune to that? Things that the listening public will never give a darn about.
Yes.
But it's something about once you put it out there, it's like, it's like making a shitty comment. Once you put it out there, you can't take it back because it becomes public record from that point on.
That's
so it's important to me to, like I have this little thing. It's like if something at some point when I'm recording or writing a song, sometimes I dream songs and I wake up in the middle of the night and try to retain as much as the rhythm as I can remember. But if it doesn't give me goosebumps, at some point in the process, no one gets to hear it. I'm literally sitting on a couple of hundred songs that I've never played for anyone. Like I was talking to the guy at my label and he was like, a Polychromatic Records, shout out Scott, woo! But he's like, how many songs do you have? I was like, I got a bunch, man. Send me a drive, and and he was like, wow, you have and it's all different. I have some stuff that sounds like it'd come off a Deadmau5 and Cascade record. I have some stuff that has a little AIC vibe to it. I have some stuff that's just weird. And it has no vibe to it. And I thought it was great. One of those songs like, is that a kitty cat? I love kitty cats.
It looked like a cat.
But it goes all over the place, It goes all over the place.
Cool. Well, we were just talking while the song was on about possibly doing a tour in Europe and how the COVID-19 has sort of stopped that ball, taking off and get rolling. Have you got any plans for the future when it all dies down again, maybe to get back over?
My whole thing is soon everything, especially with the states, with our jackass in chief not really having any kind of plan for the future set out. I can't make a plan unless he makes a plan.
Yeah.
Well,
You know,
that,
because it's like if there's everyone's not following, restrictions and following the things that they should be following. If it's not done on a uniform and everyone doing it together, it's not going to work. So I would hate to be cool and get over there and then have to,
Yeah, be stuck for 2 weeks and
quarantine for 2 weeks and. That's expensive. That's not playing out. So as soon as they get to the point, even if I'm sure Europe will have its shit together way before the U.S. does.
yeah.
But
Don't know.
once they get that going on, probably.
hopefully.
And man, it's bad over here, dude. It's bad, man. It's in my own country. Before I take a nice little drive, I have to think: do I really want to risk it? Do I really want to go out there? And then I make sure, like, I put on glasses and I don't dress like this and drive around, and I try to look as laid back
Low-key
as possible so that they don't see
Yeah.
me and pull me over. And that's a reality that a lot of people like you guys will never have to face that. But at the end of the day, that shit just gives me strength.
Well,
Like I remember when I was a kid and some kid called me like, one of those bad words, and he's like, "That's it. Just be the baddest one of those they've ever seen."
That's awesome.
I keep it real. And I'm not going to let anyone's ignorance get in the way of my fate. So anyone can throw all the, they can put all that crap on me and just deal with it. And I'm someone that, I've been living down south. I moved down south when I was 12. So I've been dealing with this crap, and I don't take crap from anybody. If someone says that stuff, says something wrong, I'm not violent, but I'll check them. I'm not just going to be like, okay, yes, okay. I'm like, and you said what? First off, you mispronounced the word. Second of all, and then I start using all these big words and confusing their dumb asses. But at the end of the day, this is the biggest lesson to humanity because we're all going to take things seriously. For a lot of people, they're seeing how bad it is. And if it takes something like that to get us to a future of peace and understanding, I know it's on. I spend a lot of time, San Francisco is my second home, and I'm a hippie pretty much. I love everybody. I don't look at you like, it's boy Jaguar. White Dan with t-shirt on, behind green screen, boonga boonga. Y'all are dudes, and we all love music.
Well,
Absolutely.
speaking of loving your music, when I had you on the Sunday show last week, I had massive amounts of people who sent me emails who said, "How come you guys never played Ticking Away?"
Well, this is interesting. I got before I started working with our current press people.
Yes.
And we got everything solidified with a plan. I got a little plug from a company that's based in the UK called Audient, and they make this thing called the Evo 4, which is like an interface for recording. Yes. And it's what I actually use to kind of finish up my record with. And so I happened to be talking to their rep one day, and they were like, "We'd love to do a feature on you." But we had to have a song that had the thing on it. So we just slid it out there. And the way I figure, it all comes back to the same place, right?
Yeah.
And so that it kind of leaked out a little bit early, but it was a tricky thing. But it is what it is. It's an extra song for y'all to enjoy.
Well, we are gonna do this because I definitely want to expose folks to this. So we are going to play the track, and when we come back, we'll have more with DJ Dan and Christopher here on our big program. It is Ticking Away, and it is here on International Live. You can also find us at KJAGradio.com. Right now, it's Ticking Away.
My mind just
that is ticking away. And it is the Nevolutionaries. And it's here on International Live. And we are going to go back to the old Skip Skype. We'll see what the heck they're talking about. Because I know they're talking about something over there. And
it's like everyone doesn't learn
we
in school
go
the same way.
we go back live to Christopher Wells and Danny. And I think that's great.
I feel like we're telling secrets.
I think it's
telling secrets, man. We come back like, shh, he's back.
I think it's fantastic. Like the minute I pull the Skype back up, you've got this smile on your face, Christopher. Like, oh my God, I got caught. Almost got caught.
No, we're just vibing on the whole vibe of the whole working the corporate entity your whole life, to play the game, to be a cog in the wheel, to actually carving a more difficult life, to do what you love to do and to be happier. Because at the end of the day, I know a lot of rich people that had died and all their money's in the bank. They didn't take any of it with them.
Nope.
But you take your spirit and you take what you've learned with you. I'm not like I'm not like Joe religious guy, but I'm a spiritual cat. I believe in a universal thing of right and wrong. You know, when you give positivity into the system, you get it out. When you put bullshit in, you get bullshit back.
Yep.
You know,
absolutely.
so
Stay
my
positive.
thing is we're never going to be perfect, but my thing is, even like the way I deal with people is just like to even try to be more understanding, trying to listen more, sit back when I want to just jump in with my comment and realize that maybe what they have to say is really important. You know, COVID knowledge. Because I wasn't thinking that way before. But when you're sitting around and you can't go anywhere for a few days without 3 or imminent death,
Yeah.
you come up with something, you know. So I just tried to grow as a person, you know, go deep and try to, instead of letting this thing freak me out, I wanted to prosper during this time.
Now, I did find the Nevolutionaries on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
I did find you do have a Twitter account. Do you have much social media?
I'm going to start getting into that heavier because I linked up with Polychromatic Records late last year, and we're getting everything kind of tied up before the big thing comes out. But, you know, I still return it, and I'm getting more stuff on there. I just don't want to be the goofy guy that is just up there like telling jokes every day and just like, yeah, I did something. I want to put something.
I did something.
I'm actually trying to plan a cool way that I could do some live stuff and then put it out there and make it to the point where people are talking about it and like, wow, that was cool compared to, wow, I've seen that shit 10 million times in the past week.
You know, and this is something that me and Dan have discussed on many occasions about some of our, I guess you would say, contemporaries. That if you're, for instance, with you're a musician, you want to put musical content up, but you don't want to put up the same old content. You want to drive people to your stuff. You know, for instance, last week on the Sunday show, when we when you and me and the fantastic Jay Bird Wells were chatting on the Sunday show, she does the same thing. She puts content that is centered to her on her social media. So I think that's great that you would rather wait till you have content rather than just, hey, I got an Instagram account, everybody.
Because that way, it's like the local band that plays every week.
Yes.
And then it's like, well, what makes me want to come and see you? And of course, this is PC, pre-COVID. But it's crazy.
You know, you hit that on the head. There used to be a venue in Salina, Kansas, that I frequented for Jiggy Jag TV, and it was called the Blue Goat, of all things. And there was a band called Sanguine, I believe is what they were calling themselves. And they played every single show all the time, and they were always on first. And so it got to be a joke where people are like, well, show starts at 9, but Sanguine will be done about 9:30, so that's when I'll get there. So You're right.
My point exactly. It's like you have to be. It's content responsibility. I'm
Yes.
doing a new term.
Yeah.
Content responsibility.
Content responsibility, baby.
You know, it's like because if you put some crap out there, they're not going to go back because people go on what they see, the first impressions, and
Yes.
especially nowadays, people have the attention span of tsetse flies on 5 cups of coffee. So they look at something halfway and like, and they're done. And if you don't captivate them and give them a reason to come back, you will not see them again.
Yes.
So I'd rather have people buzzing around asking about it, and then let me check back and see, you can find the music and listen. That's how that buzz gets going. That's how it's like,
Yes.
hey, there's like a mystery there to it. That's one of the reasons the Scott of Polychromatic, he was like, you're a mysterious guy. And I'm like, not really. I'll tell you what you want. But I guess, but you don't, all that to say, you don't want to burn people out.
Yes.
No.
Because then
Totally.
they won't come back.
Totally.
And then your capture rate will be terrible.
Yes. And then you get into all these, all these things that the social media people, are obsessed with. My social media guy, Seth Stevens, is obsessed with all sorts of things, and I'm like, I don't know what he just said. So, but as we wrap up here with you, my friend, how do people get your music, consume your music, find you on social media?
Just search the Neverlutionaries, and you'll see this wonderful.
I think that's
trippy
great.
Artwork behind it, and Apple Music, Spotify, all of your normal places you go to get music. If you look for me,
You will definitely be there.
and support. If you like it, buy it. Don't steal money. If you like it, buy it.
Absolutely.
But before we go, I want to thank you once again, James.
Yes.
And Dan, once again, thank you so much for getting it. And that means the
Pleasure.
world to me. That's not like a trained media response.
No.
That's my heart. It means the world to me that you guys get it enough to feel it. And, Dan, you're going to add it to your personal collection, man. You didn't have to say that. I bet you don't say that to every person you talk to.
No.
We've done 14 interviews, and it's the
Yeah.
first time.
Yeah,
That's
first
awesome.
time, brother. Well, as we wrap up here, you can catch this broadcast on KJAGradio.com. You can also find our podcast over on TalkShoe, and we also have we're going to be isolating the interviews as always, putting up videos on KJAGradio.com. And DJ Dan, before we get on out of here, how do we listen to the broadcast over there in jolly old England?
Yeah, well, you can listen to it if you're in England via the TuneIn app, or if you're in the car on the radio, look for Leicester 107.5 FM. This whole recording will be replayed on Friday between 5 and 6 p.m. during our drive time hour. But again, I just want to say a big thank you to both Chris for coming on. Big shout out to Polychromatic Records, Hyde Street Studios, Jameson Durr. Sound like a great bunch of guys, some great music there.
Amazing.
And a big thank you to our earlier guest as well, Fionn Rebecca
Yes.
at HQ Recording. 2 great guests today, and some really great music.
Yes. Well, Christopher, you have been a treat, my friend, and I look forward to having you back on here because you are going to be quickly one of our regulars, my friend. So
That is awesome. I'd be honored.
I am looking forward to it.
I'd be honored.
And Dan, we will talk to you next week. Gentlemen, have yourself a wonderful, wonderful rest of the week.
Thank you.
Appreciate it,
Peace and
gentlemen.
light.
There they go. The fantastic DJ Dan, Fionn Rebecca, and of course, Christopher Wells from the Nevolutionaries. That is International Live. Find us on the old Twitter machine. You can also find us on Instagram as well, and you can get more information at kjagradio.com. That's right. Write it down and tattoo it on your brain, kjagradio.com. And we will see you next time. And peace out of Mighty 5000. And also, big thanks to DJ Dan Of course, he is like a fish in a hurricane. And we will see you next week here on International Live.